Welcome to GMST Solutions Private Limited Digital Learning. So today topic is how to deploy Spring Boot project in Docker container. So what are the steps we need to follow? So what are the requirements we need to have to deploy Spring Boot application in Docker? So let's see what are the steps I have wrote. This is a simple document I have made for easy understanding way. So this is a simple way to deploy Spring Boot application Docker container and how to create a Docker project, how to create a Docker file, and how to convert our Spring Boot application to the Docker image. So these are the basic steps I have wrote here. The Spring Boot project in STS tool. STS is a Spring tool suite. It is one of the IDE to develop the projects for Spring Boot applications. I hope everyone knows as a Java developer. And another one we have the Eclipse IDE. So there also we can implement our Spring Boot projects. And here STS tool directly we can create the Spring Starter project. So today I'm creating the simple Spring Boot project with a few REST API services like CRUD operations. So using the collection framework and adding the Docker file to the Spring Boot project. So after adding the Docker file, just we have to build our maven project to generate jar file. So after generating the jar file, so we have to come to the Docker container. So in the Docker container, first we have to create one Docker Hub account. So I will show how to create the simple dashboard for the Docker account, how to create it. And later we have to download the Docker desktop application to any machine, either Linux or Windows or Mac OS. What are the Docker account credentials you have created previously in Docker Hub account? You have to utilize to same services for your desktop application. So provide the same credentials. Then it will log into your application desktop application. So once launching the desktop application, we have to open our command prompt. So in that command prompt, so where you created Spring Boot project, that absolute path you have to pass. Okay, you have to give the path to your Spring Boot application. So after giving the Spring Boot application path in command prompt, a terminal in Mac OS, so start building the image. So image is nothing but our convert. We are converting to the our Java application to Docker container format because inside the Docker container everything in images. So any software. So later we'll discuss about the separate video on the Docker images. So what are the services available? How to install the different softwares in the Docker container. So these things we'll see in separate video. So after converting the our Spring Boot project to the Docker image, then we can start the Docker container with the Docker containerization command. So here we have the Docker container command. So use the same port number what we implemented Spring Boot project. The same port number we have to use to start the Spring Boot application. So once running the container, so we will check in our browser or any other testing tool. So it is working properly or not our Spring Boot application using the Docker. So let's start how to create the Spring Boot project. Later we'll go for the Docker Hub account how to create and how to install. Then we will launch the desktop application. So in my system already it is available, but I will show the just overview. So just open the Spring tool suite. So I have already created the Spring Boot project. So it is my Spring Boot REST collection application. As you can see the Spring Boot REST collection application. Here I have added the Docker file. So it is a Docker file. Just name is the D capital. So everything is small letters. There is no extension for the Docker file. So inside that Spring Boot project, right click on right click on Spring Boot project. So go for the file. The file name is simple Docker file. No extension. So already it is existed. So it is giving the error. Just open the Docker file. Inside the Docker file, you have to keep. So what is the version of your project? So my project version is the Java 11. I'm using. So use the same Java 11 here. And so we have the target folder in our Spring Boot project. The target folder contains our jar files and everything information inside the. After building the project, you will get the jar file. So give the path to that one. Copy target folder. So what is our application name? jar file. Okay, so copy that file from that location. So after copying the jar file, we have to execute the jar file. For executing the jar file, we need the command. That is the same as the command. So Java is executable command. That is, if you want to execute any project in Java, we need to use the Java. So for compilation, Java C command. So Java command I'm using to run the jar file. -jar is a command to run the jar file. So Spring Boot application jar file. So this is given the simple steps to your Docker file. So this three steps you have to use in Docker file. That's it. And you have to remember what is the your port number created for your project. So SRC main resources, we have the properties file. Inside that properties file, I have given the my tomcat server port number is the 5050. And inside the SRC main Java, we have the business logic. So I have one controller and one model and service layer. So it is complete Spring Boot REST API collection framework CRUD operations. So I have the all operations, read operation, create operation, update employee, delete employee. So all operations we have. So after creating the Spring Boot project, you have to build your Spring Boot project. So I will show once again. It is already created in my system, but I'm giving the once again. See, Spring Boot application. So it is a target file already created the jar file and everything is available. First clean the Spring Boot application. So right click on the Spring Boot application. It is Maven project. Run as Maven clean. Just click on Maven clean. Okay. So it will clear the target folder. What are the previous versions we created? So done. Build success. Just refresh it. The target folder will be empty. It will become so because already we removed everything. Just refresh it. Now inside the target folder, you can check there is nothing. Okay, so just refresh it. So inside target folder, nothing. Empty folder now. Now again, if you want to build that project to generate the jar file, so right click on the project, run as maven build, just maven build. So while creating the Spring Boot startup project, you selected either jar or var file. Okay, you have to remember that. I have created the jar file. So maven build. So goals is package. Just click on run button. It will take few seconds to generate the jar file and checking all the code. It is perfectly implemented or not, any issues or any dependency issues. It will check. And finally it will give the build success. So after that you can verify your target folder. There is a lot of reports and including jar file also you will get it. So build success. And here there is nothing as of now. You have to refresh to check the jar file is available or not in target folder. Just refresh it. Now you can see jar file is created. Done. So up to this you have to do in our Java side. Now this application we have to move to the Docker container. How to do that steps. So first you have to create the Docker Hub account. Then we can see the what are the steps we need to implement. So basic commands, two commands only: create the image and run the container. That's it. Very simple. So now, so you have the Spring Boot project. So you have the business logic, and you know what is the port number of your server. And after building the Maven project, you have the jar file ready, and Docker file is communicating to the your target folder to run jar file. So using the jar file, we are converting to the Spring framework to Spring Boot project to Docker container image. The Docker container image is the service to the our clients. So we can provide the live services to the clients. So they can utilize our services, what we implement in our Spring Boot project. No need to start our application using either STS tool or Eclipse IDE. So now next step is we need Docker. So we have done up to these three steps. Now into the Docker. So just open your browser. Okay, open your browser. So here just type docker.com directly, you can open it now. So open the first link. So what is the Docker? You can see it is platform to have any type of software we can install. Like it is the one of the remote desktop service. But locally we can utilize, even you can use it in the Docker Hub also. So now download the Docker desktop. So first you have to create the account. So if you don't have, sign in. Okay, so go for the sign up. So sign in, if you click on the sign in button, so there only you can see the create account. So if you don't have the account, you can see the sign up it. Okay. So continue to the service. So I have already account. I'm logging to the Docker Hub. So this is a successful login after you sign up to the Docker Hub. Since successful registration, you have the account, then you can log into the Docker container. These are the images, everything in images here. So different software. We'll see in the coming videos what are the available images we have, how to download the different softwares and utilize that services. Okay. And if you go for the sign up, so I'm giving the sign out here and register. So register, get started today free. So username, select the unique username and email and password. Okay. Or if you want to register it, see, same. This is the for registering operations very simple way. Done. So I have already Docker container in my desktop application in my system, and I have created the successful account in Docker Hub. So use the Docker containers application in local machine. So this is my desktop application in Mac OS, the same like in Windows Linux also. So open the desktop application. Once if you open, it will take time to launch. Okay. So here you can see the Docker engine running and Kubernetes also running in my system. So these are the available images if you want to install the softwares. So here I can see the already created images and containers. So these are the different projects what I have created previously, Kubernetes and these are things and containers. If you are using the freshly, there is no containers images, you will get the empty. Now, first I'm creating the one image. So then we will use that image to start the service using containers. So how we can do the in simple way. Only two commands. First build the image, start the container. Okay. So comes to the steps. You have the Docker Hub account. You have download that desktop application and you have opened that. It is working fine. So after working, then you can execute the commands. If it is not working, so you won't run the Docker commands. So you will get the errors. So the fourth step, what I'm giving here. So where we created the Spring Boot project, that Spring Boot project path you have to give to the for executing the Docker commands because it will check for the Docker file is there or not. So in my system, in desktop, so you can see the desktop internship. So there we have the Spring Boot REST collection project name. So just go for the desktop, it is available or not. So inside the desktop internship, inside that you can see the Spring Boot REST collection project. Copy this path successfully. Okay, copy this and give the absolute path. I have already so this path cd path. Okay, open your command prompt or terminal. So open it. So here I have pasted that and enter. Now the path to the Spring Boot REST collection project. Inside that we have the Docker file. You can verify that. There we have the Docker file. So if it is there, then only it will work for Docker commands. Next. So here, first step what you have to do, you have to build the image. So this is the command I'm using, the same command only. So for your reference, see. So build Docker image. Okay. So Docker image build. Image name you can give any name. So I'm giving the simple name GMST Spring Boot. GMST Spring Boot. Just run this command. It will take few seconds. Okay, so the image name is a GMST Springboot SB shortcut I have given the SB. So if you open the Docker container, you can verify the image is created or not. GMST Springboot. So just now latest. Now you have to start the image using the Docker container. So what is the port number we have created in our Spring Boot application? The same port number you have to select here, 5050. So you have already command. So use that command. So Docker container. So very simple command. So what is the image name? So we have the image name is a GMST image name, and the container name you can give your own name, container name. So container name Spring Boot GMST. So because I'm giving the unique name, GMST Spring Boot, Spring Boot GMST. So container name. You can give any name as per your requirement. So here the port number is a 5050 or application port number using that, and just execute this command, enter. So if you got this command, this is a successful working of your Spring Boot application Docker container. Very simple. So coming to the containers, now I can say the GMST SB is the image running on SB's GMST container. So it is running. So what is the URL link we have in our Spring Boot project controller? You can open our controller. So for reading the employees, so we have the get mapping REST controller get employees. Just check in your browser. So it is coming or not. So localhost 5050, our port number is 5050 employees. We can see the list of employees from Spring Boot project. But we are not running the Spring Boot project in Eclipse IDE or Spring Toolsuite. We are running project in Docker. So now successfully it is running. We are getting the service. If we stop the project in Spring Boot container, so I'm just stopping it. Now if you use the same URL link in browser, you will get the error. So because it is not working now. Just refresh it. So the site cannot be reached. Again, you can restart from Docker. Just restart it. So running our application Docker container. Okay. So again comes to your browser. Just wait for the few seconds because it is taking time. So working it. The same if you want to execute all the operations. We have the Spring Boot REST API, get mapping, post mapping, put and delete. So get is read the operation, post is creating the new data, put is updating the data, delete is to remove the record from our database. These operations if you want to execute, so we have the Postman. Okay. So run the Postman application. Okay. Just wait for the few seconds. It will take to reload all the servers and all the services in internally. So we have HTTP ports. What are the REST API supports for the Spring Boot application or separate RESTful web services? A lot of things we have. Okay. Now, see, first I'm going for the get operation. So employees. Click on the send button. JSON format data. See the JSON format data. And if you want to add the data, so I have the 1012 So I'm adding the new record. Post mapping. Just select the post method. And URL link is the add enp. So you can check in our add emp for post mapping. Add emp. So you have to select the body. and JSON application. So here you need to pass the key value pair data, JSON format data. So JSON format data. So you can use the same syntax also, you can utilize. You can use the same data also. So ID is 501 already is there. I'm taking the 601. Any name you can take it. Any name you can take it. So company, so any company you can take. Just click on send. 200 work success. Added the one more record 601. And if you want to update, we can go for the put mapping. So the IDs. So what is the URL link for the update? So EMP update. You can select this URL link and you have to pass the ID. ID. So 501 I'm taking. ID is the 501. So here the 501 Gupta is there. I'm changing to the some other name. So here is the SG. You can go for the any other company. There. So remove this. It is the ID is the 501 only. If you want, you can take. Otherwise, not required. Send it. So success. Now you can see the 501 updated the data. And if you want to delete the records, so what is the HTTP method we have? Delete, emp delete. So use the same. And if you want to remove the same ID, so we have to pass the ID here. So remove that ID. So 501 record will be removed from the our collection data. Just utilize the delete method and send it. To notice success. Now you can check it. 501 will be removed. So these are the Spring Boot REST API using the collection framework or database CUDA operations. So same way we can do it using the Docker container. So thank you for watching our video. If you have any questions or any suggestions, you can comment in our comment box. Thank you.